Born Kimberly Ashlyn McCarney on September 14, 1959, at the Cherry Point Marine Base in North Carolina, the woman the world would come to know as Ashlyn Gere has lived a life of contradictions. Her journey through the fringes of Hollywood and the mature film industry goes against the typical narrative, successfully weaving together a mainstream acting career, a pioneering role in entertainment, and a relatively quiet life post-retirement. Raised in Nevada from age 3, Gere grew up surrounded by the glitz and spectacle of Las Vegas. But it wasn't the bright lights and the parties that caught her attention. It was the stage. A natural performer, Gere was part of the cheerleader team at high school. She pursued her passion for entertainment at the University of Nevada, graduating with a double major in communications broadcasting and theater. Like many aspiring young actresses looking to make it in the movies, Gere moved to Los Angeles with her sights on Hollywood. She adopted the stage name Kim McCarney and scored roles in a string of low-budget films. Credits during this time included Dreamaniac in 1986, where she plays the role of Pat, one of the group caught in a situation after a spirit is summoned and begins to do what spirits in movies do, and the wonderfully terrible Lunch Meat in 1987. In this, Gere plays the role of Roxy, one of the main characters who the antagonists are after. The quality of these movies was typical fare for a struggling actor in the B-movie trenches. Yet, Gere persevered, honing her craft in front of the camera with a work ethic that was commendable. Despite these modest beginnings, she showed a strong sense of being in control of her roles even then. In Creepazoids in 1987, she refused to perform a scene she wasn't happy to do and also demanded a body double for a scene in Evil Laugh, which seems rather ironic considering the career she would eventually pursue. The catalyst for the shift in production type may have been that Gere's mainstream roles weren't satisfying her quest for fame. And like many performers of the time, she was drawn into a parallel world where her dreams for success, albeit in a very different form, would finally come true. Her break came in late 1988, after photographer Stephen Hicks discovered her. He photographed her for a famous magazine of the era, and she subsequently appeared in the February '89 issue under the name Kimberly Marshall. This brought a lot of attention Gere's way, with offers coming in from publications and producers from the industry. Needless to say, later that same year, she made the jump to films, adopting the name Ashlyn Gere for the first time. Her first top-billing role came in The Last Resort in 1990. Set at a luxury resort, it featured a top cast of star actors with the legendary John Leslie behind the camera. From there, her career took off in an unexpected and meteoric direction. Over the next decade, she appeared in around 140 films, quickly becoming one of the most recognizable names in the industry. What set Gere apart was her deep commitment to performance. She often wrote her own scripts too, and was articulate in her roles. Gere had trained in theater after all. This helped her bring a dramatic flair to her acting that would typically be reduced to mere tropes by lesser talent. In short, she was a professional, and both industry insiders and the fans recognized this. Highlights during this early period of her career include Grand Prix Fever in 1992, which follows a loose plot where Ashlyn meets her co-star during the Australian Grand Prix. Gearing Up in '93, alongside John Doe and the ever-reliable Mike Horner, and the moody but well-shot Paul Thomas-helmed Night Train in 1994. Her work earned her critical acclaim, winning her multiple AVN and XRCO awards. She also secured exclusive contracts with major production companies like Vivid Video and E Associates, which dominated the VHS video release scene at the time. But Gere's success in the industry came with its share of complexities. While other stars of the 1990s became cautionary tales due to their activities outside of filming, Gere managed to avoid this notoriously problematic side of the business. She remained close with fellow actress Victoria Paris, and through her, was also friends with Christy Canyon. Canyon later reminisced about their playful antics on the club circuit, making it clear that they all managed to keep away from the popular habits that plagued the industry. Gere's support system, particularly her close relationship with her family, was vital. In an interview during the height of her career, she said, "My family is very important to me. They come first. They know what I do and have been very supportive." Grounding her career in the kind of personal stability that eludes so many in the business helped her navigate a notoriously unforgiving world with her dignity intact. Another aspect of Gere's career that was relatively unique is that she managed to maintain her duality. While her career in the industry flourished, she never entirely abandoned mainstream acting. Throughout the 1990s, Gere continued to find work in this arena, albeit under a variety of pseudonyms, including Kimberly Patton and Kim McKemy. She had roles in the Michael Madsen thriller Fatal Instinct in 1992 and appeared as a body double in two of the most iconic films of the early 90s, Basic Instinct in 1992, where she stood in for Sharon Stone, and Indecent Proposal in 1993, doubling for Demi Moore. Perhaps her most visible mainstream success came with her recurring role as the robot, Felicity O.H., on the sci-fi series Space Above and Beyond between 1995 and 96. She also appeared in other television series such as Silk Stockings in 1997 and the long-running series Millennium, with her entry beginning in 1998. In my opinion, her most memorable TV role came when she scored a guest spot on 90s phenomena that was The X-Files. These roles, though smaller in scale, revealed a performer capable of successfully straddling two worlds. By the early 2000s, Gere began to wind down her career in both the mature and mainstream arenas. After over almost 15 years of juggling two vastly different careers, she retired for good and transitioned into a quiet life in Texas, where she became a real estate agent alongside her husband, Lane Parker, to whom she has been married since 1988. Essentially, Ashlyn Gere represents the complexities of navigating fame, personal ambition, and a successful personal life. However, she achieved that with aplomb. To this day, Gere remains an icon of an era, an enduring symbol of a career forged on her terms and lived without regret. From her early days as a B-movie horror actress to her rise in the mature film industry, Gere consistently brought depth, professionalism, and passion to her roles. After leaving the industry, Gere's post-Hollywood life marks yet another chapter in a life lived with authenticity. Essentially, Ashlyn Gere stands as a figure who broke boundaries, defied expectations, and redefined what it means to be a performer in the industry.